everybody, and welcome to the Pixel Classroom Podcast. This is episode 206. Believe it or not, hard to believe we are. And of course, welcome to the fourth episode of the new season 7 of the Pixel Classroom Podcast. And I figured I'm going to kick off something here very interesting. As people have known here, is I switched to a whole new district this year. Again, I know, and in your joke here, but I switched to Canvas, and I had not used Canvas in about 3 years, which I worked for a community. And I started studying over for a couple of channels, and this one person jumped all over the place right now. She's smiling and laughing right now as we come off the studio. So I'm going to welcome Angie Redmon to the Pixel Classroom Podcast, or as she's known on the YouTube channel, Angie Teaches Canvas. Angie, welcome joining us here this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
So, Angie, we had a little information. So we were just talking here before we started, hit the record button. Those on the audio, we usually have our backstage piece on this too. This is live stream, and we'll switch to the audio. Usually premieres 2 weeks after it records. So, Angie, where did your career start? I know you're working with the colleges. Like I said, you're just getting ready to start with summer break, which slightly jealous since, I'm already getting ready for week 4 here, coming from Labor Day weekend. People watching us right now. We got about 5 people watching us. So thank you for joining us tonight. But exactly, how did your career start? What led you to where you are? And what led you to starting this YouTube channel, which, like I said, I came across, like, this is an awesome channel. I need to follow her. I need to use her. I was using it 2 weeks ago. So yes, that's how often I use her.
Oh my gosh, what a great segue. What a great introduction. Okay, so starting back a ways, I got my bachelor's degree in math, and I started out working as an actuary, and I just didn't like it. I thought it was going to be a 9 to 5 grind, but it was more like a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. kind of a grind. And I'm like, there's got to be more to life than this. Ended up moving with my husband to a smaller town and started just kind of randomly teaching an evening class. It was like beginning algebra, evening class at the community college in our town. And I immediately fell in love with it and signed up to go to graduate school the next year. So I finished my master's in math, and I've been teaching at the community college here I'm in Washington State, been teaching at my community college ever since. So I think I'm on year 27. So it's been a minute. Absolutely love my job. I started adding online into my work at the college in the year 2000. But in the year 2000, there was not a lot of video options. So a lot of what we did was written lectures, audio lectures, things like that. And when the video lectures did start to be viable in the online classroom, I had a lot of students who just could not access them because of the bandwidth. They just could not, with their modems or whatever. And then I discovered YouTube. So when YouTube came online, it was the perfect solution for my students and I. So for years, I was just dropping lecture videos onto YouTube. I teach math, so I was dropping these lecture videos onto YouTube, started to get a little bit of a following. And then once my kids got older, college age, I decided, gosh, I could really make a go of this. So that was like maybe 2021 when I started to work really purposefully on my math YouTube channel. My Canvas content I had in there too was starting to take off. And so that got all pulled to its own channel at the beginning of this year. It is just like the most fun hobby, I guess you could call it. It's been a really fun hobby.
That buy me coffee thing right there too, like some other YouTube people I follow.
Yeah, yes.
Buy me coffee, guys. We're teachers.
Yeah, we need coffee. None of this
matcha.
comes free,
I had a
right?
student yesterday say, Dr. Reed, do you drink matcha? I said, well, right, once in a while. They're like, you don't love it? I'm like, I still drink it. It just depends on the day.
I actually happen to have a matcha right here. Yes, coffee matcha. It's all good, right? It's all good. And I have to tell you, like, I love working with my students. One of the best parts about YouTube is getting to know people around the world. I mean, I get comments, I get questions from people taking math and from faculty that are learning Canvas, and it's just really, really fun to kind of be there alongside learning with my audience. So yeah, it's been really fun, really fun.
Oh, I mean, it is. I mean, I looked at all your channels, and not to mention you've kept them up regularly. I'd like to get my regular I used to. I mean, the only thing people always say regular is like, well, on your other channel, you've got your comic reviews up perfectly, and then you do some of your live streams with Gimkit. I said, yes, I would like to get back to doing more regularly, but especially right now, it's like I'm in a new district. I'm getting that flow good.
Yeah.
Teaching subjects I know, and I'm using programs and lessons I know, and I'm updating them as I go. And my wonderful staff there lets me say, "Hey, Ryan, go for it. We're not going to stop you as long as they're learning the main lessons and we're keeping the curriculum pace guide working. I'm fine with that." I said, "Cool." So it's a slow time, and I'd like to get more of that. I'm hoping to as time goes forward. But and another thing is you're a math teacher, and I said this season I was gonna get more math teachers. So see there you're starting to
Yep.
pull up
Love
part of
it.
it. I still got 4 more to get in here. They're coming.
Oh, we are a fun breed, let me tell you.
Oh
We
yeah.
have a lot of fun.
And
Yeah.
for someone who had problems with math growing up in school, and still technically do. I mean, kids in math like, Dr. Reed, you know statistics. I said statistical data. But you need to talk to my cousin if you really want to know statistics. And sometimes I'll see him do stuff. And we were just watching Stan deliver, and of course they were doing the AP calculus. And I had one student who was in pre-calculus, and I knew
Great
a couple
movie.
of things. That's a great movie, and she was doing a couple things. I answered, but then she's like, "What about this?" I said, "Well, those are your angles, and that's going into that." I said, "No, like that's where I stopped." They look at me like I'm like I don't do that. I mean, it's not horribly hard, but I only have so much experience where I can see something, I know exactly where it's going, and then there's sometimes I look at it, I'm like I have no idea what this is asking. I wouldn't even find the answer. As in the movie says tic tac toe, I'm like yeah I know where to do that in the square root, but after that I'm like I don't
Yeah.
know how these
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and it's really
Yeah. Fun.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do. Like, one reason I found your channel is I was looking up Canvas. As soon as I had to say, "Hey, Ryan, we use Canvas," I said, "Oh, yeah, I used it years ago. We do our principles of tech at one of my old districts, and we used it with the community college. And we did Canvas, and I always said Canvas was like Google Classroom on steroids. But there's a lot more of it. Also, Canvas has come a long way. When Canvas
A
was first
long
out,
way.
it was scary, but just so was Google Classroom way back in the day. Edmodo and Schoology too. I mean, still, I mean, I know school districts right here towards the suburbs of Chicago. They use Schoology still, which I don't argue. It's good. And some people complain like, I love this in Canvas, but I wish I could do this from Classroom, or this is great. Tips right here. And I have to say, Canvas for my digital lit class using CompTIA, beautiful integration. What I do for formative, wonderful integration. But
Nice.
there are some times, and it took me a little while to get used to it about, oh yeah, it's a turn-in assignment. And then, I had the teacher and show me like, Ryan, you have to do this and do file. I'm like, and I was following your channels, like, okay, I'll do that in the future. And sure enough, I did. I like to clean up my classroom, but being a first year teacher, I had to clone the old classrooms to get the curriculum and do it. So it's like my stuff is not listed like it would be. I'm hoping by next semester it's
Right.
cleaner, easy. It goes into the quantitative and Skyward. So I'm not doing the old fashioned grade. I can grade fast, but I really like that automatic sequence. Like, yes, they got an 18 out of 20 informative, goes into Canvas, Canvas goes into Skyward. My life is great versus that.
Yeah. So
It's hard.
nice. Right.
But
So
it's a
nice.
problem when it's not set to match, since with Mars is formative, summative, and summative projects. And our summative tests are in quantitative, which is nice. But it is a pain when I turn on nightly sync and I only get 5 out of the 15 students in there, but I know it's the way my categories are subject. So I'm still learning. So, Angie, why don't you talk about how you first got into Canvas, why you went into doing all these videos, which many of us are
Oh,
thankful for, just
I
so
have a
you
good
know. I'm
story.
not using
Yep.
every avenue of it, but trust me, when I get really stuck, I either ask two of my coworkers or I immediately look at your channels and I said, aha, that's it. So, very
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
give
Perfect.
us the
Okay, so
lowdown.
yeah, I've got a well, a decent story there. So I've got a decent story for that one. When I started online, it was Blackboard first.
Yep, I
And
remember
then
Blackboard.
we went from Blackboard was, decent. Then we went from Blackboard to Angel. Not many people know about Angel.
I've
Um,
heard of it. I've never
yeah,
used
had you
it.
heard of
I
it?
like Moodle I knew, and MOOCs, but yeah, Angel
Yeah,
I heard of, but I looked at 'em like, I have no idea what that is.
I don't believe they exist anymore. But it was really hard to go. We converted to Canvas, our entire state, all the community colleges in Washington State, went to Canvas in 2013. And it was a really hard transition for us because coming off of Angel was pretty flexible. It was you could get pretty creative, you could add colors, you could do a lot of things, just kind of drag and drop, where Canvas is not that way. So it was a tough transition. And the person that we had as our Canvas administrator, the one that was training all of us faculty, was not a faculty member, and he just didn't have that same view of teaching that we all did. So he was coming at it from a much more logistical standpoint, where you just put your documents here, you put your assignment here, and then you're good to go. Where so many of us, we want to engage with our students, right? It's not just a matter of posting our material. It's really like, how can I get to that student, and how can I like really effectively deliver this lesson and make it interesting, but then also have a connection, whether it's face-to-face or online. So I started playing around with Canvas at that point. I'm like, surely there's got to be more than just modules here, right? So I
Yeah.
started playing around, learning some new things, here and there. And then comes COVID, right? A defining moment for so many of us.
My dissertation was on mobile training for professional development for teachers, and it was after it was officiated. I had just defended before and got approved, and I had just turned the thing. It was downloaded 75 times 2 weeks after it went live in ProQuest. So
Right before the shutdown? That's
no,
crazy.
right before and right after. So people were already looking at
That's
stuff then afterwards. So I was shocked because I also ProQuest said, "Oh, it's been downloaded again." I'm like, "What?"
perfect timing, right?
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
not
It was like
perfect.
I think, and even when I left my district at the time, I said, "I think your height was COVID." And I said, "I know, isn't that weird?" That
Yeah.
was like the big thing in that district with the digital and the mobile learning.
Yeah, right. And it's exactly what people needed. So when we shut down, we're on the quarter system. So
Mhm.
our spring break was when we shut down. And that was good timing for us because we had just finished a quarter. But as we're getting into the new quarter, just a small group of us were teaching online. We all had Canvas shells to drop our stuff in, but they weren't all teaching online. So we had a wonderful dean at the time, and she got a group of us together and had us work as peer mentors. And so we helped each other kind of get through it. And then I decided to start doing weekly videos. So I would do a weekly video for everybody. We're all stuck at home. So I did a weekly video for everybody, hey, you guys, here's your Canvas tip. Here's something else you probably don't know about Canvas. And that really got me into thinking more about how I could reach more faculty with all of these Canvas tools that a lot of them are buried. So there's, so I'd say that's how I started. I also do professional development at my community college, which is a really, really fun, so it's a third of my job. It's a really, really fun position to have in addition to my teaching. So I train new faculty as well. So just really like not just thinking about how can I reach those students and be really engaging with my students, but I also think about how can I reach people like you, right? How can I reach the
Right.
faculty out there who are also learning and need to get to a place where they can just focus on the teaching, focus on the students.
Get us like
Yep,
switch over.
that's me.
Let me get them. It's like saying thing. Like I said, I'm hoping for a new computer. Remember, guys, don't just donate coffee. Ryan needs a new computer in 2026. Okay.
I
Besides
love it. I love it. I love it.
but actually, let's side there. Like I'm getting so much better at this. There we go.
Perfect.
So, there it is. And I really do like, I mean, and like I said, this is given the most popular. That's one thing. If I go to videos, it looks much easier. There we go. But yeah, right there. You just had your 7 days ago, as of the recording of this, 5 hitting Canvas acts. Probably by the time people listen to the playback or the audio in 2 weeks, they're probably like, oh, wait, she has more videos. I'm like, she's good. I mean, right here. I mean, you try to do 5, but I do like to hear about using the old, the new copy, which I think I'm going to be looking at that as we move into whatever my show programs are for 2 of my classes, because why? 2 are going to stay the same, which honestly, let's keep them that way, because right now we got a good pace between all 3 of us teachers who are teaching the same course. So we're trying to stay on part of it. But there are things I'd like to change and import and not run into the
Oh
issue.
yeah.
Those 3 days before the school year started, we had crossed a couple of our classrooms. I mean, I have 3 consumer econ classes. Better to make a shell, the baby, as they say, and put it in there. I learned how to do all that.
Love
And then
that.
uncross.
Perfect.
Yeah, but then when uncross, so then we couldn't get people on the Canvas unless it was a single classroom for a little bit. And then 2 days later, life moved on and we got it. I crossed and I used your video. I double checked what my coworker Joe said, and I was off and running that Friday. And then that Monday, I made sure all the kids were in and running, which worked very well. So it was.
Yeah,
I do.
perfect. Because when your technology doesn't work, nothing else works, right?
Right, and I have a student where I have to do paper copies, but that's a long story on that,
For
but at least
sure,
we have it
for
available. We
sure.
have PDFs and stuff, it's just, I have to print at home because printing sometimes works greater now. I mean, I'm the new guy. It's supposed to go wrong. I'm the new guy.
Yeah,
Um,
true. So
but
true.
but now here's an interesting thing. So, I told you as we were talking about using formative, and I use Go Formative. Speaking of COVID shutdown very often, I kind of got out of it, and then I went away, didn't worry about formative. Used, Wayground, which when it was quizzes, is used my Gim kits, and then my normal Google Forms. It's just what worked, and the kids were. But
Love Google Forms. Yep.
yeah, but it's very interesting, like your question banks, and only I mean, several of my teachers use the question bank. Some of them use formative, and some do other stuff. But when you do about this with question banks and quizzes, and you got to get test banks in here too. What is some of and people watch these videos and go check it out. And she's got really good, but how did you set these up? Because I mean, you basically have 7 quiz test videos here, and yes, they show the classic, they show the updated. You showed, hey, you didn't know this trick, give it a whirl. How do you organize those without, as they say, retrending
I
and say, oh wait, I talked about that 6 videos ago, and I basically just spent 20 minutes making another video I just talked about 2 days ago.
I so wish I had like this wonderfully planned out answer for you, but I don't. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I made one on. I think I made the one on new quizzes because I'm
Yeah,
just kind
which
of
is right
thinking
here.
as I'm moving my
Here's
videos
your little
over, right?
preview for people watching the
What do
video.
people need to know? And then I had a question from a viewer, and they said, "Hey, could you make a video on question banks for new quizzes?" And I'm like, "Oh, great idea! Yeah, great idea." And so that's how that one came to be. Um, then there's also some really fun things happening with AI,
Right.
and
And I'm a
so
and I'm a big Canva, and that's our push in my new district is we're getting onto Canva, and I've been a Canva user for years.
oh, yes. Yeah, yeah. So between, I mean, so Canva, because Canva is a free tool for all K-12 teachers. Canva is a free tool. AI, ChatGPT is a wonderful tool, and ChatGPT, like, it just keeps getting better, like every hour. I like every minute, probably, right? So I made this original video showing how to have AI, ChatGPT, make a quiz for you in Canvas, and it would do the correct format, but you had to teach it the format.
Mhm.
Now, when I go back in and ask ChatGPT to make me a quiz, it's like, oh yeah, of course, you want a Canvas quiz. Here you go. You can dump it all in, and it still has some issues. But man, our workflow is just changing like by the second here. And like there's a learning curve to figure out how to use AI and how to incorporate it, but then at the same time, there's also all these wonderful tools. And Canva also has an AI feature, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I've actually used it as a nice little feature to make the title cards. I was looking at your title cards, but I was having the worst time trying to get it. So I did use the Canva. It's like, please give me some examples for this for a title card for Canvas. And then I popped in and it found, and then of course I just went from there. It just gave me a nice layout. I said, that's nice, but that's not me. And I went into it. And there is the add-on. We've been slowly adding it for some of our graphic designs and media teachers through Canvas, and they're the first to use it too. Like my integration, it's there, but I probably will not have a real good one until next semester and everything. Like I said, it's been a slow rollout because of that. But we're using Canva more, using more of the AI tools, like so for shortcuts. My last district, we used a lot of the AI stuff to really cut sometimes, but also, like I said, teach it to do stuff so that way it was saving us time for a lot of formats and everything. And sometimes I would say,
Right.
hey, give me this, but give me on current statistics based off this with the economics, or please give it by a different state, or give me it according to Spain. And they'd be like, okay, there you go. I've updated questions 5 and 9. I'm like, cool, because I'm like, I don't want to recreate this, but I don't want to Google search and edit versus like, no, just give me the updated form according to current statistics. I'll do a quick little double check just to make sure you're doing the, as I call it, blind spot of AI, where you tell it to do something, you really want to look at it and say, no, you did. Like, did you have a moment there? Because even I know that's not right. And that's what I always say. Like, AI is the current, as people have called it too, have always called it like the modern day Google. I said, yeah, I remember when Google first came out, when it started becoming popular, the first Google Docs, and I said that's where we are with AI. I said eventually that bubble will burst too, and eventually it's just going to be, oh yeah, I used AI, and then I didn't, or yeah, I did this. It's just going to be a tool to use.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think AI is, I don't know about about how your faculty is, but a lot of our faculty are just anti-AI. Oh, it's just a cheating tool. We don't want to encourage students to use it. But the fact is like it's like Google, right? Like
Mhm.
imagine your students going out into the world and not knowing how to do a Google search, right?
Right.
Like that's like we are doing them a disservice. Chat GPT with their like 5.0 that they just came out with a couple
Yeah,
weeks
5.0
ago.
is the most recent version. Actually, I
Yeah,
think
that's
we're
the
at
most recent
5.1
one.
now.
It has a study mode, and I've got that on my books to make a video for my math channel on, but it has a study mode, which is so cool. It goes along with how I teach my students to use AI, but you can switch over to study mode, and then your students can ask questions, and instead of it just giving them the answers, it will prompt them
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and then quiz them. And it's like, so again, like as we're it's coming up with new things as quickly as we're imagining them, right?
Yeah, I mean, and people know I'm a big GimKit person. I'll talk about their various social medias platform too. But I've been using some of the AI with there, where it's like I'll give the question and the answer instead of give me four choices. Like, no, 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 don't do. I'd rather just put in the flashcard questions because then that system goes back into it. And GimKit's very simple to do as an external link or say, hey, when you're done, go over here for review if you're done early, and it still works. And I look at the percentages and I pop that into one because right now I don't have us. I think about tomorrow I'll officially have a set one for the class. Usually I go individually classes, but when you're teaching three of the same courses and you're using one cross-platform Canvas shell, you do not want to be making three classrooms in Canvas versus like I'll put you all in there. Whoever did it second hour, I can just say, there's a report, you hit this percentage mark, and then you did this percentage mark, but at least it's by the times versus that. And if I want to look at the students, at least they're in the classroom, but it's a time saver versus like other classes where it's like, no, there's one eighth hour, there's one seventh hour. Those are the people in it. You can practice if you get done early. I tell the sub, like, I'm gonna be gone. As I said before the video, I got a day off planned off coming up for appointments, but it's a lot faster. It's a lot easier. I mean, and I won't speak with all my staff either because I'm still getting to know a lot of them, and some use it,
Yeah.
some don't. I mean, is everybody using Canvas? Yes, we are too, but a lot of us are exploring those newer options like the Canva integration or some of the AI too, or some people are using Wayground and Kahoot. And I said, yeah, it's all
Yeah.
built in there. It's just how we're just trying to find smarter ways to do that. I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to give you some homework there, Angie. How do you do some of the quiz games online with Wayground and Gimkit and Kahoot, which would be easier, but at the same time do it to
So
where you don't
so Kahoot, I haven't used it, but I have a coworker who does. Kahoot does have an integration with Canvas.
okay.
So you can go into settings. It's like settings and then apps, and then you'll see
Yeah.
Kahoot there. And if you've purchased it, then you can put in your license key or whatever that's called. And
Yeah.
then it's integrated right in there, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, I would bring up my one of my Canvas shells, but between my computer and it's on the main ground and sharing it, oh, I don't want to crash this computer. It's
Right.
happening.
No.
It's like I had everything done, and then it's like, well, what are you showing here? Like, I don't know. It's like today we were watching Rudy for my leadership class, and usually it's a two-sided room, so and we had the streaming because it's like, oh yeah, this is available for K through. I'm like, awesome. Well, I put it on there, and the kids and me are looking like, why do we hear it? We don't see the picture because it was mirroring. It just doesn't like the live stream. It goes when you
Oh,
show up to the kids, say, "Hey guys, we're in 2025 now. Now we'll stream instead of do a DVD." I mean, luckily, what I just did is I just switched it to the other projector, and I just said, "Turn around, guys." That's the way the room's built in that room. It's not my regular room, but
right.
it's built.
There is always something. Yeah, always something. And I'll go into my classroom if I know I'm showing a movie, just to make sure, or like a video clip or whatever, just to make sure. And I swear something happens between the time that I checked and the time that I actually have my class. But yeah, there's always something. But I would not go back to the chalkboard days.
No. I mean, I'll write things on the whiteboard. I'm not. I do more paper and some more thinking, like I do a hexagon thing. I use a lot of edu protocols, but I've been a digital person. That's what my doctorate's in. That's what my other stuff is. I'm just learning more
Yeah.
classes. Like right now, I'm in microeconomics, but I'm also looking at collective bargaining, something I talk about, but don't get into, but I need it. And then, several times is accounting. And I was planning on taking another side, like synchronous class, which was going to use Canvas, but I didn't get in time. And unfortunately, I had college credits to use and they're going to be gone. I have stuff set up for the fall. So I said, oh, I mean, the spring. So I said, I'll just do that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
gonna have this all done and taken something different, like maybe an LMS or an AI basics class for education in the spring. So, I mean,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
lay plans,
Right? It just
but
does not always happen. But one of like I think back a lot about how different my prep is, and I'm sure you're the same way. How completely night and day different my prep is from when I started teaching,
oh
right? When
yeah.
I started teaching, I'm like, oh, I'm teaching, polynomial division today, and I'll kind of figure out here's some good examples, and then I'll figure out what odd numbers in the back of the section I want them to do. But what's so great about digital learning is students are on this continuous learning model.
Mhm.
They're not just stuck like doing the problem and they get the answer 23 and the back of the book says, oh, the answer is 72. And then they're not just stuck going, well, I guess I'm wrong, right? Like they have so many amazing tools, including AI now to help.
Yeah. And I agree. And it's used, like I said, I'm much more blended like I was too, but I don't do the videos like I used to. There's some of that stuff existed. And when my short, and I always tell the kids, like, kids, I do talk a lot. I like to talk. I like to tell stories. They get that. I don't lecture. So usually 10, 15 minutes. Like today, we were talking about the basics of bank. Like I was giving an example, like this is a commercial bank, blah, blah. And I said, give me a commercial bank in here. I said, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's. And like I was telling you before, I had one class that was answers. Other one it was, I'm asking the question, guys. Listen, okay. The other one it was like, don't be don't be shy. And I
Yeah.
had but I looked at them doing the formative and then that on Canvas and much more answers. Like I said, give me the 3 to 5 questions, and that's what our big push was this year was dead dates for online. Because one thing I like about Canvas is I can turn on the due date and I can shut it off.
Yes.
And I can say, nope, this is it. And if you're going to give me late work, you got to share it through Google, which we use the platform. And if you don't give it to me, I can't do it. But it's like, this is dead, guys. I can't give your grade. We gave you time. I gave you plenty of platforms. I even gave you paper versions of it. And all you had to do is just mark done. And I can say, okay, 30 out of
And
60.
and if those of you listening don't know what we're talking about, it is in the grade. Well, when you're creating your assignment, you're editing your assignment under the due dates. It's the available until date. I I love that one, and it just puts the control back to me, right? Because they'll just turn things in like 2 months later at midnight, and then they'll say, "Well, I turned it in; it was still open." So at least this way we'll have a conversation. Um, I'm proactive. I know a lot of faculty are. I'm sure you are too. I always reach out when students don't turn something in, and Canvas makes that really easy too.
Yeah, and I like
So
how I can get the comments too and everything. That's one thing I do like about the Go Formatives adaption to where I can leave those comments, which works really
yeah,
nice. And like I said, we were just doing my one class, we were going over get a job, elevator pitch, and the resume, and I had a lot of people like, hey, I know if I took a point off, I said, hey, fix that, or I'd come up, and it was nice. I feel like I was doing that even with Google Classroom, it had Moto back in the day too. So I like that features. I mean, my comp TIA, it's very simple. Like, guys, if you watch the video and you went through the quiz, and if you didn't get high enough up, you can retake it, and it will update it both on Canvas and in comp TIA because it's all in there. The only way it's not going to do it is if you take the main quiz. Like after that, it's like, nope, that's not a retake. If there was an error, I'll just erase your score. I'll then reestablish it. So then that way they don't lose their progress. One thing the kids are going to be like is, I got it. I ran out of time. I quit it. I thought it was going to save and it didn't. I said, I'm just going to wipe your score out to that date. Go ahead and now they're like, yep, I'm in there, Dr. Reed. I'm like, good. And I just said, okay, now I'm going to restore your score. Boom.
yeah,
All
perfect.
solved. And they retaken that quiz. I wouldn't say they're retaking the quiz. They're continuing where the quiz was, and it's done. And it's all in there. So then as soon as it says like, yep, that was 100 points and you got it 97, boom and boom. And it's like, cool, thank you. And then I just go right to Skyward and do that. Or if it does a night sync, it's right in the quantitative. And I'm like, whew,
Great. Yeah, great.
one less thing for me to do tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, love that.
And so with that all, I mean, we've been talking about all the features with Canvas and everything else, and how you got it and how you use it. I've been talking about me coming. Like I said, it's like seeing an old friend I didn't really get to know, and now we're becoming better friends.
I
That's
love
why
that.
I'm
Yes,
keeping
I
an eye on
agree.
it. 'Cause like I said, I used it 3 years ago, and it was just really for one course that was technically basically an AP class word for thing. And now it's like, well, now I'm using it for every class I have to and everything else, and it's been set up, and I like the form. But if you're a new teacher, it's been like me, got thrown in like, oh, I'm on campus. I was a Google Classroom forever, or like my district used Schoology. Like, what do I do? What do you think is the best tips you can get for anybody starting with Canvas? And then where do you think you should take it afterwards?
I think Well, I mean, not to just like promote myself, but me and
No, no
others.
selfish promotion. Pay attention to not the follow button. It's on the live stream right now. Your audio people
I
are
mean,
like, we're
I
gonna
might as
show
well
them.
go with it, right? I might as well go with it. But I'm a show me, teach me kind of a person. I'll read things, but I learn so much better if I can watch somebody else. And I love that I'm not the only one out there on YouTube, but there are several other faculty out there on YouTube who are teaching how to use Canvas. And to me, that is where it's at. We were taught, like I said, that transition was so rough that we had
Mhm.
because we were all trained by our IT person. And he was a really nice guy. He just wasn't a teacher. He didn't
Right.
really understand what was
Versus
important.
mine were instructional coaches, and I work and the two teachers I work in my CTE department, the more business tech teachers in that,
Yeah.
they've been using it for almost 6 years.
Right.
So
So you get all of that knowledge, right? What to do and what not to do. The other big recommendation that I have is to get on Canvas has a free for teachers site, and so you can just use your login for your school. So I use my login for my school, and I use that as my sandbox.
mm,
So that's where I experiment with things. That's where I record a lot of my videos, because I don't always need students in them. So that's a really great way to kind of play around, especially if you're new, because a lot of times if you're brand new to the district, you don't have access until shortly before. So
yeah, and
it's
that's
a
exactly it. Like I knew about it, but I was not officially on there until I'm gonna say about barely 4 weeks before the school year started. I had everything shared with me, but until I sat down with my 2 teachers, I mean, Joe and Scott sat with me, I said, "I don't see this." And they're like, "Ryan, we're just gonna share you the shell." And that's what they did. I'm like, "Oh, thank you," because some of it was there and some of it was. It was just so nice to quickly say, "Hey, import it from the shell, and I'll just adjust it from there."
Yeah, yeah, great. And not everybody has those co-teachers like you do
No.
to walk them through, right? Or even 4 weeks, right? And 4 weeks is not enough to learn Canvas.
No,
But
I'm still learning something new every day. Right now, I'm getting
same.
on the pace and flow. And when I'm ready to try something different, especially with my stuff coming up with my Pixel projects, which I told the kids, like, guys, I intend to be us in this in about 3 weeks in October. Once we get to spreadsheets and CompTI, because I'm like, we're doing the easy stuff now. The easy stuff goes away in 2 weeks, and it's like you're on Word. Like, no, you need to know how you do Word, and oh no, you need to know how the spreadsheet conditional formatting works. And then it's like, I will do this so you can do this because at the same time, it's like, it's nice to say, here's my finished 3D project. That's great. I need a comparison depth line. Let's put that in here because I'm not making a brand new formative for you. I want the evidence there set in your portfolio. But at the same time, when the people ask me, so how the classes go, like, well, here you go. Here's 7th hour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, lots, so many great tools there, but so much to learn. And it's always changing too.
Yeah, it really, I mean, Canvas itself has changed in the last month. I told you we had a technical glitch and then they had 2 new updates right after that too. So it's like if it's something really weird, I'm like, I'm gonna go to Angie's channel and there's this other math teacher. I do see him, he does some updates maybe every month or two. I mean, like I said, I look for recent ones. I said there's stuff to get out of Canvas, but if the video is more than 2 years old, I'm like, no offense to the people who might be getting the algorithm, like, oh, they're talking about Canvas on Ryan's channel. It's like, no offense, but that was 2 years ago.
E-
Google
ex-
Classroom doesn't look the same it did 2 years ago. Canva does not look like it did 2 years
no,
ago. You
no.
need more what happened in a couple months because maybe there was an update, but it's easier to go to something that was 3 months ago versus 3 years ago.
Exactly, exactly. And they tend to do updates. I mean, they do updates throughout the year. But there were some pretty significant updates. Some significant updates happen over the summer, and I teach during the summer.
Mhm.
I so I'll just go into SpeedGrader, to grade an
Yep.
assignment, just like I've done for the last whatever, how many years. And it will look different. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, I can figure it out and I can look it up, but then this is me going, oh, this is not just happening to me. Everyone's going to come back in the
Mhm.
fall, and they're also going to go, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that was the thing too, because when I was teaching the one class, 2 of the other teachers did it, and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, just so you know, we have the updated version." I looked at it, I'm like, guys, what do I do? And they said, oh, we got to go here. We got to go through the apps. Like, great. But then it's like, oh, the apps aren't showing up. And it's like, well, where are we going? It's like, oh, let's go to the settings. Like, oh, there they are. And then I finally got to like, okay. I mean, I had stuff to do that luckily because I taught the class before, just not the same way. I said this year is a little bit of what I did back then, a little bit what I do now, and just kind of merged them and made, as I said, did the cross platform on it. But yeah, it updated and it threw my one coworker for a loop because he's like, what didn't do this last year? What happened? And he went, oh, it did this. Well, here's what and then our IT guy said, oh, here's what you got to do, Ryan. I went, oh, and then also it's like, oh, there and all. Oh, thank you. Now I'm good. Now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 And I'm the kind of person, and it sounds like you are too. I'm the kind of person who I love that continual learning. Like I seek it out, right? Like how can I do this different? How can I do this better? What can I improve on? What thing do I not know how to use in the classroom that would be great in the classroom? But not everybody's there. I mean,
No.
and really, I don't know that everybody even should be there, right? They should be focusing on what they're teaching. They should be focusing on their students, right? They shouldn't have to be focusing on trying to figure out how to, get to their rubric in Canvas or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, and that was my first thing too until we were officially going. As I said, after everything, I even told them, like, guys, we're on a flow. Once we're into our flow, we'll get into the other stuff. Then after I said, now we're on our pace. I said, now this should be bread and butter. You should either know what to do when I'm not here or what we usually do. Or I said, I told you the agenda yesterday. Here's that agenda has not changed today. Okay, questions, come find me. Otherwise, it's like you should know it. You should know, especially my upper class or like juniors and seniors. You've been doing this your whole high school life. You know, freshmen, sophomores, it still might be a little new to it because like the middle school is doing it too, but middle school is used to Google Classroom or something. So it's like, but usually I said by the time you're this level, you should like. I mean, if something, some kids are not afraid to say, "Hey, Dr. Reed, it's not working." I was like, "Oh, I published the wrong thing," or "Oh, I published this, but I didn't publish the rest of the
You
module."
too? You
Yeah,
too?
I've gone to the point where I used to have it available. I set the availability, but I don't have it go live now. Especially here, like I said, the Thursday as I was recording, I have an appointment, but I'm going to get up in the morning, click those couple of things, and say, "There you go," and then leave it because I said two of those classes, nobody's going to look at anything until class starts. The other ones, it's like, no, I don't want that opening until that day
So
because it might.
you can schedule availability too.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
where
is that what you did? That's
and I
perfect. I
want to
love that.
live
Yeah.
thing with the schedule available. Yeah, for that. So yeah.
There's some there's some fun tools in there.
Yeah, so I will be using that for the first time tomorrow, where I'm going to set that up to
Okay,
do. So
fingers
let's
crossed.
cross their fingers, and yell at one of my coworkers. I'll get my wonderful. I mean, I do have wonderful instructional coaches. So if they're watching this, like, oh, good, he's brown nose, just good. We like this guy. We'll keep him around a little longer.
Yep, love
But
that.
it's
I
like,
love that.
yeah, and like I said, it's been a learning tool. And luckily, I also have coworkers teach other subjects who've been doing this, where I can go to them, like I told you about the file turning. Like, guys, I can't do it and did that. Luckily, I set it up in Canva Classroom. I said, click on that link so you get all the wonderful tools for this. I said, just share that with my
Yeah.
name, put my email up, and then he did it that way. But I looked at it like, I have 6 ways to have you turn this in, but I rather just turn it in one spot and make my life easier and yours.
Yeah, yes, yeah, and that is tough with all the technology, right? It can be really overwhelming for us.
Andy, we've talked about so much, and I mean, we're hitting our normal past the half an hours where people are like, okay, we got it. We're going to check out
Oh my gosh, that went so
I better check
fast.
out Angie's channel because she's looking for that. She wants to get that $10,000 subscription thing in the mail there on YouTube or 3D print it, whatever comes first. I still have that dream too. Maybe some.
I'll take whatever I can get, a matcha or a 3D printed. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm gonna just re-update a new computer with my new podcast equipment. I'll be really set.
That would also be
Free
amazing.
Restream Premium for 1 year. There we go. Then knowing my luck, I won't get any guests. I'll have to like, well, now I got a live stream. I got free premium. I don't know. Yes, guys, I am a consumer education teacher. Welcome. This is your lesson in budgeting
Consumer.
and benefits. But on that note, Angie, what do you got coming? Like you said, you're just about to start here with the colleges and everything. So what do you got coming up besides more amazing videos that'll probably be showing up on your channel in the next
Yeah, I am, so if you all have ideas for my videos, I mean, just like I mentioned, people ask me about something and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea for a video. So, I mean, I'm making those videos for you all, not for my sake, although I enjoy it. So that would be amazing. But one of the things I'm actually working on right now is an accessibility. I have one accessibility video, I think, out there, but I'm working on an accessibility series. Because a lot of us right now are working towards the April deadline to get all of our digital materials accessible. So that's what I've been working on all day today. I'm working on a professional development program for my faculty, but then I will share what I've learned with you all as well to get everybody up to speed.
Yeah, which is, like I said, I'm glad this worked out for the interview. I mean, I got sick, and then last week was a blur. So, I mean, it was like, I want to get her on here because I have another guest coming up in another week, but it's like that one's been scheduled out. I'm not too worried about that. But it's like, I really want to get her on here sooner than later. And luckily, this all worked out, especially with your schedule in mind.
Worked out great.
It
Yeah, it
did.
worked out so great.
So people on the live stream, I put it all there in the description or anything else on the main YouTube channel. People who will be listening to audio 2 weeks after this airs, it will be in the show notes. Like I said, look for youtube.com/Angie Teaches Canvas. And you can do it. Like I said, I reached out to her. She responded to me. She was really good. So I might throw a question or two out there myself. Like I said, we'll see how the scheduling goes for me on Thursday. I'm shooting for that 8th hour because if not, I got the app right here on the phone and I'm ready to go. And maybe,
love it. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah. I'd love to hear from you and everybody else. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll be an appointment, but if worse comes worse, I can just like, and we're done.
Right.
That's the green arrow and boom, you got a check mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
All right. Well, Angie, thank you so much for being on with us today on the Pixel Classroom podcast and everything. So, I mean, this has been a wonderful conversation.
Thanks so much. It's been great. Yeah, it's been great. Really, really great conversation. I appreciate it.
And we didn't get any live chats and everything else too, though I appreciate the 5 people that tuned in today on both social media as well as YouTube, our main area too for it. So on that note, everybody, I'll leave that in the non-edited version. Thanks for joining us all today, guys, and we will see you later.